Tonight marks a turning point in American gun rights. Across the nation, a new chapter is being written, one that will shape the future of personal freedom, public safety, and the very fabric of American society. As of January 2026, 7 U.S. states have ended the requirement for a permit to carry a concealed firearm. This sweeping change means that millions of Americans now have the legal right to carry a concealed weapon without first seeking government approval or undergoing additional background checks beyond those required to purchase a firearm. This is the largest expansion of concealed carry rights in modern history. Supporters call it a restoration of constitutional freedoms, a long-awaited correction to what they see as government overreach. For many, it's a moment of celebration, a validation of years of advocacy and grassroots organizing. The move redefines the relationship between citizens and the state, altering public life in these states. Everyday routines, shopping, commuting, attending events, now unfold in a new context, as both citizens and law enforcement adjust to a landscape where concealed firearms are more common than ever before. It's about more than laws. It's about the core of American identity, the right to self-defense versus the desire for public safety. The debate reaches deep into the nation's history, touching on questions of liberty, responsibility, and what it means to be an American in the 21st century. The world is watching as this experiment unfolds, seeking answers to questions debated for decades. Other countries look on with curiosity, concern, and sometimes disbelief, as America once again tests the boundaries of individual rights and collective security. Will these changes make communities safer or lead to more violence? The stakes are high. Law enforcement, community leaders, and families all grapple with uncertainty, weighing the promise of empowerment against the potential for unintended consequences. The decision deepens the divide between states with strict gun controls and those embracing constitutional carry. America's patchwork of laws grows more complex, fueling passionate debate and highlighting the nation's enduring regional differences. For some, it's a victory for liberty. For others, a source of anxiety. The emotional response is as varied as the country itself, with hope, fear, and determination all on display. Tonight, we'll break down the new laws, the arguments, and the people affected. We'll hear from lawmakers, law enforcement, families, and experts as we explore the real-world impact of this historic shift. The era of permitless carry has arrived, and America is watching to see what comes next. The choices made now will echo for generations, shaping the nation's identity and its future. To truly grasp the significance of this dramatic shift in American gun laws, we must first look back and understand the historical context that shaped our present. The story of concealed carry in the United States is not just about laws, but about changing attitudes, fears, and the evolving relationship between citizens and their government. For much of U.S. history, carrying a concealed weapon was not only frowned upon, but widely restricted. In fact, it was often seen as the mark of criminal intent, something associated with outlaws rather than law-abiding citizens. Many states and towns passed strict laws, and the image of the no weapons sign was a common sight in the 1800s. This began to change in the late 20th century. The modern permit system emerged as a response to shifting public opinion and concerns about personal safety. In 1987, Florida passed its landmark shall issue law, which required authorities to issue concealed carry permits to qualified applicants. This move sparked a nationwide movement as other states watched closely. The Florida model, which required background checks, fingerprinting, and mandatory training, quickly spread. States across the country adopted similar systems, aiming to balance public safety with individual rights. But the debate didn't end there. The next evolution was the rise of constitutional carry, the belief that the Second Amendment alone is sufficient to guarantee the right to carry a firearm, without the need for permits or additional government approval. Vermont, unique among states, had always allowed permitless carry. But in 2003, Alaska became the first state to formally adopt permitless carry through legislation, setting a new precedent and inspiring others to follow. Over the next 2 decades, a wave of change swept across the nation. More and more states embraced permitless carry, reflecting a growing belief in individual rights and a shift in the national conversation about gun ownership. By January 2026, the simultaneous adoption of permitless carry by 7 new states marked a true tipping point. This rapid expansion signaled that what was once a fringe idea had become a mainstream reality. Today, permitless carry is not just accepted, but has become the norm for a majority of Americans. It is reshaping the landscape of gun laws and daily life across the country. This transformation is the result of a decades-long legal and political campaign, driven by passionate advocates, landmark court cases, and a persistent push for change at every level of government. The 7 states at the center of this change are Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Virginia, North Carolina, Nevada, and Minnesota. This group includes swing states and regions with large urban populations, making the shift especially significant. The core change: no permit is needed to carry a concealed handgun in public. Existing prohibitions for felons and those with restraining orders remain. Some states keep voluntary permits for reciprocity with other states. The legislative push accelerated after the 2024 elections, with all laws taking effect in early January 2026. For millions, the change is immediate. No more paperwork, fees, or mandatory training. Gun-free zones and rules on firearm use remain unchanged. Proponents argue the law only affects law-abiding citizens, not criminals. This distinction is fueling the current debate. The reaction to these new laws is deeply polarized, igniting passionate responses from communities across the country. In town halls and on city streets, the debate over public safety and personal rights has become a flashpoint, drawing crowds on both sides who feel the stakes have never been higher. Supporters, like the Second Amendment Foundation, hail the legislation as a major victory for individual freedom. They argue that removing bureaucratic hurdles finally allows law-abiding citizens to exercise their constitutional rights without unnecessary government interference. For them, it's about restoring trust in responsible gun owners and ensuring that self-defense is not delayed by red tape. The Constitution is my carry permit, declared a Wisconsin state senator, echoing a sentiment that resonates with many Americans who see the Second Amendment as a fundamental guarantee, not a privilege to be regulated. But opponents, including organizations like Brady United, warn that eliminating permits strips away critical safety nets. They point to the loss of mandatory training and background checks, arguing that these measures are essential for preventing accidents and keeping firearms out of the wrong hands. Police chiefs and law enforcement officials have voiced their concerns as well. "We're removing a system that ensured responsible gun ownership," one police chief stated, emphasizing that permits provided a layer of accountability and oversight that helped keep communities safer. As a result, some citizens now feel a heightened sense of anxiety in public spaces. They worry about the possibility of untrained or reckless individuals carrying firearms in crowded areas like parks, malls, and schools, raising questions about the balance between freedom and safety. Others, like a Virginia shop owner, feel a renewed sense of security. "I can protect myself without waiting months for a permit," she explains, reflecting the belief that immediate access to self-defense is a basic right, especially for those who may feel vulnerable. Supporters further argue that criminals, by definition, don't wait for permits or follow the law. So why should responsible citizens be held back by regulations that do little to deter crime? They believe that law-abiding people shouldn't be penalized for the actions of a few. The debate now centers on a fundamental question: does permitless carry make society safer, or does it increase the risk of violence and tragedy? Experts, politicians, and everyday Americans continue to clash over the evidence and the potential consequences. Both sides see this change as a defining moment for American society, a crossroads that will shape the nation's identity and values for years to come. The divide is stark, with passionate arguments and deep convictions fueling heated exchanges. For many, this is not just a policy issue, but a matter of personal safety, liberty, and the future of the country. Everyday citizens reflect this national split. Some feel newly empowered and confident, while others experience growing anxiety and uncertainty about what the future holds. The chasm over guns in America has never been wider, and as the debate rages on, the nation continues to grapple with how best to protect both its freedoms and its people. Permitless carry in these states is shaking up American politics. Gun rights advocates are pushing for similar laws elsewhere, making gun policy a key issue for Republicans. For Democrats, it's a setback, forcing them to defend existing laws and ramp up federal efforts. The issue will dominate upcoming elections, with public safety at the forefront. Socially, cities are seeing more "no firearm" signs and a patchwork of rules. This creates confusion and potential conflict between business owners and gun carriers. The presence of firearms in public is becoming normalized, changing community dynamics. Some fear a societal arms race as more people consider carrying for protection. The definition of a safe public space is now more contested than ever. The economic impact is immediate. Gun sales surged ahead of the new laws. Analysts predict continued growth in sales of concealable handguns and accessories. The removal of permit fees and training costs lowers the barrier for new buyers. Voluntary firearms training is expected to grow as responsible owners seek instruction. Instructors are offering new courses tailored to permitless carry. However, some warn that perceptions of increased danger could hurt tourism and conventions. Lost permit fees mean less revenue for state and local governments, impacting budgets. Virginia, for example, must replace millions in lost permit revenue. The economic effects, positive and negative, are still unfolding. For police, these laws change daily operations. Officers can no longer assume someone carrying a concealed weapon without a permit is breaking the law. This complicates routine stops and increases ambiguity. Departments are retraining officers to adapt, emphasizing de-escalation and threat assessment. Police chiefs worry about increased risks, especially in volatile situations. Some unions are requesting more funding for protective gear and training. Agencies are educating the public on how to interact with police while armed. Guidelines urge citizens to keep hands visible and inform officers if carrying. The relationship between police and the armed public is being redefined in real time. Legal experts say this shift follows recent Supreme Court rulings making permitless carry legally sound for now. The next legal battles will focus on where guns can still be banned: public transit, parks, polling places. Expect years of litigation as courts draw new boundaries. Sociologists warn that more concealed guns could erode social trust, especially in cities. People may become more suspicious and less willing to engage with strangers. The impact will differ. Rural areas may see little change, but urban centers could face more friction. These cities will be the real test for whether permitless carry can coexist with a peaceful society. The social experiment is massive and unpredictable. The coming years will reveal whether these changes strengthen or strain communities. The consequences, legal and social, are just beginning to unfold. The move to permitless carry is a defining moment for America. It pushes the nation further from the norms of other developed countries. The core question remains: will this lead to greater safety and freedom, or more violence and division? The answer is still unknown. The experiences of these 7 states will shape the national debate for years. Crime rates, self-defense stories, and police-community relations will all be scrutinized. The future of the Second Amendment is being written in state houses and city streets, not just in Washington. This story is still unfolding, demanding attention from all Americans. The path chosen now will define the nation for decades. Thank you for watching.